I want to welcome everybody to another afternoon and exciting session of Coffee with Cleo. We have a great guest, a colleague of mine that I look forward to you hearing more about because in the area here in Texas and Houston, we have a lot of entrepreneurship, a lot of inspiring people, young people that are moving and shaking the Houston area. And I want to introduce to you Mr. Festus Amoye. Festus, how are you doing?
Hey, I'm doing well, Cleo. Thank you so much for having me. It's truly an honor to be here and share my experience on your platform. It's amazing.
Well, Festus, the honor and privilege is all ours. And I just want to give the audience a little background about you. Festus Amoye, of course, he'll tell you more specifically about his personal background, but Festus is the owner of two businesses. One business, of course, is Medfit, and it's a medical exercise business, about 4 years here in Houston, doing very well. He also is involved in a startup business called Laddering Your Success, which is education technology. And it is a very innovative business and approach to education and changing the lives of young people. So he is involved in the medical field as well as the education field in both technology. He has a degree in psychology from Houston Baptist University. And Festus, again, as I've said, is one of the young movers and shakers here in Houston. So folks, you're in for a real treat. So Festus, let me ask you a couple of questions. And the first question is this: what inspired you to become an entrepreneur? Because I want to set the stage. African Americans represent about 13 to 14% of the population, but we only represent about 7% of the business. And you already have two businesses that are being started here. So what inspired you?
Wow. So actually, to be honest, it actually started early. Part of out of necessity, and in part out of my parents. And so my dad, he migrated to the United States with my mother in the 80s. And when they migrated to the United States, he already had a small business going, and the business that he was in was more about trying to do fishing and kind of, I guess you could say, food and drinks back home in Nigeria.
Yes.
And he struggled through that business because in the 80s there wasn't as much technology available, and so being that, also being first generation Americans, establishing a family here, doing the work of establishing a family here, we didn't have much money growing up. And so I actually started work at 11 years old, which is selling newspapers and different kind of things like that. And so getting that start, working that early, and then unfortunately both of my parents passed away when I was in high school, and that kind of had to push me to make a little bit more money. The neighborhood I grew up in wasn't one of the best neighborhoods, especially during that time period. So that led me to actually something that probably some people would say is not a good thing, but I've always been really studious, and so basically it made it real easy for me to learn things. And so I would sell answers to test questions. I wouldn't cheat. I wouldn't grab the answers from anywhere else, but I would just sell my answers, and that kind of got it started. But then when I was 19, I got the opportunity of buying into a pizza business. It was a big failure. But as any entrepreneur knows, failing is part of success. And
Yes.
you fail your way forward, and you take those lessons and you learn those lessons, and that's eventually kind of what led me into starting two businesses.
The thing I want to make sure, and why I'm excited to have you on Coffee with Cleo, is that not just the fact that you are an entrepreneur and a young entrepreneur, but you also are a published author as well, and the author of Laddering Your Success, which you'll get more into your business. So Festus, I want you to tell us, and those who are aspiring to own our business or own a business or get involved in a startup, tell us about your two businesses and what they are, who they serve, and how they're different.
Yeah, so thank you. So yeah, the book here is Laddering Success, and Um, I took lessons that I learned from having lost my parents, but then also just struggles in life. And I think uh, one of these quotes, and I don't know who said it, was if you want to be successful and make money, uh, provide a solution to somebody.
Yeah.
And so like I took two things. Number one, something that well, both of my business I had personal experience with, but one was born out of a skill set, and then the other was born out of a need to help others. And so I'll break that down a little bit. So I got training after I graduated high school. I went into the military and I started getting medical training. First in medical supply, medical logistics, and then it went into what's referred to as a combat medic or medic, commonly known in the civilian side as EMS.
Yes.
And then I got what they call an additional skill identifier, ASI, in occupational therapy assistant.
Right.
And I started working in occupational therapy assistant for about I'm going to say about 4 years. And I started getting offers from patients to work with them privately. And there's a scripture of mine, it's a favorite scripture. You see a man good in his labor, he'll serve before kings and not obscure men. And basically this scripture just references that if you're really good at what you do, somebody's going to offer to pay you for it. and you might even be offered to get paid while you're actually doing it. And so I got these offers, and usually because of conflict of interest and my personal ethics, I would rescind the offers. I wouldn't take the offers until about 4.5, 5 years ago. I got an offer from a woman who had a very simple surgery, was not life-threatening. She made the offer for me to work with her privately. I told her no, and a couple weeks later, she passed away. And I asked myself, could I have done anything to have helped her? Just even if you can't stop a person from passing away, but I just wondered if I could do anything. So I told myself the next time somebody offers, I'm going to take them up on that offer. And so that's what led into me doing medical exercise. I got another license or certification rather,
Yes.
to do medical exercise. And then I started that business based off of the next offer somebody gave me. And so that's how I started that and started to grow that. However, for laddering your success, I seen the need to take some of the confusion out of the college or career process, because a lot of students, quite honestly, don't understand what that transition really means.
Yes.
And so the best way of doing that is to start early, start helping students get purpose, understand personal meaning, and so that's where that came from. That's where that came from.
No, that's fantastic. I think anyone, I am an entrepreneur. I have my own business, and just the fact of the success rate of entrepreneurs, or even those who dare to start and run a business, as you said, the first venture you were involved in failed, but you need to fail forward. I've always admired those that are industrious and resourceful like yourselves, but you have more than one business. You have two businesses and you're a published author. So kudos and hats off to you, Festus.
Thank you.